Yang Guifei, when love becomes a kingdom's undoing. Throughout the annals of history, few relationships have captured the imagination, quite like that of Emperor Xuanzong of Tang and his beloved consort Yang Yuhuan, immortalized in legend as Yang Guifei, the imperial precious consort. Their story, set against the golden backdrop of Tang Dynasty China's most prosperous era, is at once a timeless romance and a cautionary tale about the dangerous intersection of private passion and public power. It raises a question that echoes across civilizations. When a ruler surrenders his heart completely, can a kingdom survive the consequences? A love born in the palace's shadow, Yang Yuhuan first entered the imperial household not as the emperor's consort, but as the wife of his son, Prince Xu, that she was eventually brought into Xuanzong's own court, a move that required her to temporarily take Taoist vows to preserve decorum, speaks volumes about the depth of the emperor's desire and his willingness to bend convention to satisfy it. By 745 AD, she had been elevated to the rank of imperial precious consort, the highest title short of empress. She was, by all accounts, extraordinarily beautiful, described in classical sources as one who could bring down birds in flight and sink fish beneath the water. But her hold over Xuanzong ran deeper than mere physical allure. She was musical, witty, and possessed of a warmth that disarmed even the most hardened courtiers. The emperor, already in his 60s when their relationship deepened, found in her a vitality that rekindled something long dormant within him. The architecture of neglect. It is one of history's recurring ironies that the very qualities which made Xuanzong a great emperor in the earlier decades of his reign, his energy, his passion, his capacity for intense focus, became the instruments of his decline once they were redirected entirely toward love. During the Kaiyuan era, 713 to 741, he'd been a reforming sovereign, consolidating borders, streamlining the bureaucracy, and presiding over what would later be remembered as the height of Tang civilization. Poets flourished, trade expanded along the Silk Road, and the capital Chang'an became the most cosmopolitan city on earth. But the arrival of Yang Guifei into his intimate life marked a subtle, then accelerating shift in his priorities. Xuanzong began spending increasing hours in the Huaking Palace at Lishan, a luxurious hot springs retreat where he and Yang Guifei could enjoy music, dance, and each other's company far from the bureaucratic machinery of the capital. Court audiences became irregular, memorials piled up unread. The emperor, once known for his meticulous attention to governance, was now composing music with his consort and lavishing gifts upon her family. The poet Du Fu, writing in the aftermath of the dynasty's near collapse, captured this transformation with devastating precision, describing a court where spring nights were short and the sun rose late, where the emperor no longer appeared for morning audiences because he was still lost in the warmth of his beloved's embrace. The Yang families. Shadow government. Perhaps more corrosive than the emperor's personal distraction was the political vacuum it created. Yang Guifei's family, sensing opportunity in the emperor's infatuation, moved rapidly to fill the space left by his inattention. Her cousin, Yang Guozhong, rose to become chief minister, wielding power with a recklessness that alienated both the military establishment and regional governors. Her brothers were awarded prestigious titles. Her sisters received imperial favors that bred resentment among the old aristocracy. The court, once a meritocracy tempered by Xuanzong's earlier reformist energy, became an arena for Yang family patronage and factional maneuvering. Even more fatally, the emperor's infatuation blinded him to the growing ambitions of An Lushan, the Sogdian Chinese general who had cultivated Yang Guifei's personal favor and used it as a shield against criticism. Court officials who warned against An Lushan's consolidation of military power in the northeast found their memorials ignored, or worse, found themselves sidelined by Yang Guozhong's influence. Love, it seemed, had not merely distracted the emperor. It had constructed around him a wall of comfortable unreality through which genuine threats could not penetrate. The Maui Mutiny and its terrible lesson. In 755 AD, An Lushan launched his rebellion, and the Tang court collapsed with shocking speed. The emperor fled Chang'an with a small retinue heading toward Sichuan. At the Mahui postal station, the imperial guards, exhausted, embittered, and furious at Yang Guozhong's mismanagement, mutinied. They killed Yang Guozhong, then turned their demands upon the emperor himself. Yang Guifei must die. The logic was brutal, but, to the soldiers, irreproachable. She was the root of the court's corruption, the symbol of a decade of imperial distraction. Xuanzong, weeping and powerless, gave his consent. Yang Guifei was strangled with a silk cord. She was 38 years old. The scene is among the most heart-wrenching in Chinese historical literature, immortalized in Bai Juyi's long poem, Song of Everlasting Regret. An emperor who had held the fate of millions in his hands, reduced to helpless grief beside the body of the woman he loved. It is, in the end, a scene not of villainy, but of tragedy. For Xuanzong was not a cruel man, nor even a weak one by nature. He was simply a man who allowed love to become the primary organizing principle of his public self, and in doing so, lost both his kingdom and, finally, the very person for whom he had surrendered it. The weight of a crown in love's balance. Yang Guifei's story endures not because she was a temptress who destroyed a great man, but because it illuminates something far more universal. The profound difficulty of holding power and tenderness simultaneously without allowing one to consume the other. A ruler's love, unlike a private citizen's, is never truly private. It shapes appointments, distorts judgment, and emboldens those who know how to exploit affection as a political instrument. Xuanzong did not fail because he loved. He failed because he loved without discipline, without the self-awareness that governance demands even of the heart. In the end, the legacy of Yang Guifei is written in two registers. In Bai Juyi's poetry, she is the eternal beloved, mourned across time. In the histories, she is the still point around which an empire's unraveling turned. Both are true. And it is precisely in that painful contradiction that her story speaks most clearly to us still.